In the cold void of space, where stars flickered like distant candles and silence reigned supreme, an alien armada loomed ominously. The fleet stretched across light years, its ships glinting with metallic menace under the faint glow of a dying star. This was the Zorathian Empire, a civilization that had conquered countless worlds through sheer force and unrelenting cruelty. Their arrival at the edge of Earth's solar system marked what they believed would be their final conquest: humanity. For centuries, the Zorathians had waged wars against civilizations far older and more advanced than themselves. Entire species had been wiped out or enslaved beneath their iron rule. They prided themselves on their overwhelming numbers, their technological superiority, and their ability to crush resistance before it even began. And now, as their massive fleet approached Earth's orbit, they anticipated another swift victory. But something was off. The scanners aboard the flagship Vraxion, commanded by Admiral Krylax, detected only one vessel emerging from Earth's atmosphere. It was small, tiny compared to the behemoths in the Zorathian fleet, and utterly alone. There were no squadrons flanking it, no defensive satellites guarding Earth's perimeter, no sign of panic or preparation for war. Just this single ship, drifting calmly toward them. Krylax leaned forward in his command chair, his scaled brow furrowing. "Magnify!" he ordered, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. The holographic display shimmered, zooming in on the lone craft. It was sleek, almost elegant, with smooth curves and an iridescent surface that seemed to shift colors depending on the angle of the light. No visible weapons protruded from its hull. There were no turrets, no missile launchers, nothing that suggested it could pose any threat whatsoever. "This is absurd," muttered Captain Vera, standing beside Krylax, her claws tapped impatiently against the console. "One ship? Against our entire fleet? Do these humans not understand the gravity of their situation?" Krylax narrowed his reptilian eyes. "Perhaps they do not fear us, or perhaps—" He trailed off, considering possibilities. "Perhaps this is some form of trickery." "Trickery?" Vera scoffed. "What trick could possibly overcome such odds? We outnumber them billions to one." "Then let us see," Krylax said, leaning back. "Open a channel." A moment later, the view screen crackled to life, revealing the interior of the human ship. At first glance, it appeared empty. But then, a figure stepped into view. It was humanoid, clad in a simple gray uniform adorned with insignias unfamiliar to the Zorathians. The face was calm, almost serene, framed by short-cropped black hair. The individual raised a hand in greeting, though their expression remained neutral. "Greetings," the human said, their voice transmitted clearly despite the language barrier. A translation algorithm quickly rendered the words comprehensible to the Zorathians. "I am Commander Elias Drake of the United Earth Space Force. I represent all of humanity." Krylax bared his teeth in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Commander Drake," he growled, "you stand alone against the might of the Zorathian Empire. Surrender your world now, and we may grant you mercy." Drake tilted his head slightly, as if considering the offer. Then he spoke again, his tone unchanged. "Mercy is not required, but I must warn you, turn back while you still can." Vera burst into laughter, a harsh, grating sound that echoed throughout the bridge. "Did you hear that, Admiral? They dare to threaten us." She turned to the view screen. "You are but one ship. What hope do you have against us?" Drake's gaze hardened ever so slightly. "Hope has little to do with it. You've underestimated us once already. Don't make the same mistake twice." Krylax raised a clawed hand to silence. "Vera." His curiosity was piqued. "Explain yourself, human. Why send only one vessel to face us?" "Because," Drake replied, One is all we need. Before Krylax could respond, the human ship, the Eclipse, suddenly vanished from the view screen. Alarms blared across the Zorathian fleet as sensors scrambled to locate it. Moments later, the Eclipse reappeared directly in front of the Vraxion, hovering silently mere kilometers away. "What sorcery is this?" Vera hissed, her tail lashing behind her. "It matters not," Krylax snarled. "Destroy it!" The order rippled through the fleet, and dozens of ships opened fire simultaneously. Plasma beams and energy projectiles streaked toward the Eclipse, converging on its slender frame. To the astonishment of every Zorathian watching, however, the barrage simply dissipated upon impact. The Eclipse didn't so much as shudder. "How is this possible?" Vera demanded, her voice tinged with panic. On board the Eclipse, Commander Drake watched the futile assault unfold with detached interest. He activated a communication channel once more. "This is your final warning," he said, his voice carrying a weight that sent shivers down spines, even scaled ones. "Leave this system or face annihilation," Krylax roared in fury. "Enough of this insolence! All ships, focus fire on the target! Obliterate it!" Again, the Zorathian fleet unleashed everything it had, but as the attacks intensified, the Eclipse began to emit a low hum. Its surface shimmered brighter, pulsating with energy until it became nearly blinding. Then, without warning, a wave of light erupted outward from the ship, engulfing the nearest vessels in an instant. When the glare faded, those ships were gone. Not destroyed, but erased, as if they had never existed. Pandemonium erupted across the Zorathian fleet. Ships attempted to retreat, but the Eclipse moved faster than anything they had ever encountered. Wherever it went, destruction followed. Entire squadrons disappeared in flashes of light, leaving behind only silence. Admiral Krylax stared in disbelief as his once mighty armada dwindled before his eyes. "Cease fire!" he bellowed. "Cease fire!" The remaining ships halted their assault, retreating to regroup around the Vraxion. Krylax opened another channel to the Eclipse. "Human!" he shouted. "What manner of weapon is this? What devilry grants you such power?" Drake's face appeared on the view screen once more. "It's not devilry," he said calmly. "It's evolution. Your empire thrives on conquest and domination, but humanity has chosen a different path. We've transcended conflict. Your weapons cannot harm us, and we will not hesitate to remove any threat to our existence." Krylax clenched his fists, rage boiling within him. Yet even he could see the futility of continuing the fight. "What do you want from us?" he demanded. "Leave," Drake replied. "Return to your territory and spread the word. Earth is off limits. Harm us, and you'll regret it." For a long moment, Krylax hesitated. Then, with a growl of frustration, he gave the order to withdraw. The surviving ships turned tail and fled, disappearing into the depths of space. As the last of the Zorathian fleet vanished, Commander Drake allowed himself a small smile. He gazed out at the stars, knowing that humanity had proven itself stronger, not through brute force, but through ingenuity, unity, and the courage to defy impossible odds. And somewhere, deep in the galaxy, the legend of the lone ship that defeated an empire began to spread.